Howdy, gamers. I'm Isaac, and I'm fishing.
And I'm Claire, and I'm the puzzle master.
And this is Make That Game,
where we pitch the latest,
the greatest
new video game ideas
that won't ever get made.
No.
Yeah, we're real sad about it, but
Well, yeah.
what are you going to do?
There's less pressure when you know it's not going to get made, right?
That's true. It doesn't have to be a good idea because our company doesn't depend on it.
Exactly. It doesn't, I mean, and some games that are good ideas aren't money makers. Which is honestly really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Although, if a game doesn't make money, was it really a good idea?
Probably.
That's a very subjective question because good idea for one person could be terrible idea for another person.
Yeah. And
do we really want to suggest that
also,
market
a lot of
forces are objective, correct?
Exactly. And also a lot of a
correct.
game's success is based on marketing.
Yeah.
So
that's the game making tip for today. Market your friggin' game, y'all. You got to get out there and you got to market it. You can't just make social media posts about it.
Well,
there's got to be like
I think you can have
a concerted marketing
strong
effort.
Social media campaign, but you got to like get game influencers to talk about your game.
Well, I'm talking about like you can't just like tweet a devlog. Like you have to be like A, posting that devlog, like B, advertising, like probably put money.
Well, yeah, definitely put money
into it, so that it actually appears in people's feeds.
Don't forget to budget for marketing.
You got to budget for marketing. There are very few games, if any, that like no marketing, just make it.
Show up on Steam and you're gonna get so many dollars. No.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
I mean, most people these days know, so this isn't going to be like a mind-blowing thing for a game developer, but like you do ideally want a decent amount of wish lists before you even like launch your game on Steam.
So it's kind of like, I mean, this is like a mini discussion, but it's kind of like books, like pre-orders really define.
Yeah, like because a certain percentage of people who see your game are going to wish list it, and then a certain percentage of people who wish list your game are going to buy it.
Right.
And so, like, you realistically want and also the number of wish lists goes into like how Steam presents it to the rest of people too. So, like,
that's almost the bigger thing is like, oh wow, people like more wish lists make a perceived. I mean, it could be true or not, but it's perceived of like this game is really hype, right? Because people really want it, so therefore then you want it, and it like feeds that energy. Yeah.
So wish listing, like. If you see a cool looking game,
wishlist it. Even if you're not going to buy it, that's okay.
Yeah, even if you're not going to buy it, wishlisting helps. Exactly, it's free to wishlist. Yeah, and all it does is clog up your wishlist a little bit if you actually literally never intend on buying it. But I think if you think that it looks cool, you probably somewhat anticipate at some point and buying it.
Just help out those developers you love.
Yeah, anyways. We pitch games, and I would like to hear Claire's game pitch.
Okay.
To me,
my game pitch is really silly this time.
Okay, well, I'll be the determinant of how many wish lists it gets.
Okay. It's called Age of Umpires.
Have you said this one before?
To you.
You've said this one to me. Okay. All right.
Yeah, before, like, when I came up with the idea, I said, I'm going to do this for my game idea. Is that okay? And you said yes.
Okay, well, A, I forgot about it, so that's fine. B, you revealed too much behind the curtain there. I could have been acting and pretending like I didn't remember it because the conceit here is that we don't know the game ideas ahead of time.
Well, that's why I asked you if it was okay if I still used it. And you said I'll probably forget, which you did. So
okay.
But then I could tell you weren't lying. I could tell you were like, have you done this before? Because you had heard it before and you couldn't figure out where.
Okay. All right.
So
yes.
I was helping.
Yeah.
No, listeners, usually we don't do that, which is why, again, I asked permission because I was like, I already said it.
Yeah. The central conceit of our show, like I said, is that
But you don't know what I'm going to say next. You just know the title.
I'm lost from here.
So this, I think it was because I misheard you when you were talking about Age of Empires, and I thought you said Age of Empire, and I know you didn't because I know what Age of Empires is, but I thought it was funny.
Yes, I am a very funny guy.
So then I was like, is this even a game? How would I do this? Because Age of Empires is an RTS, which I would want to keep, right, in Age of Umpires. So it's basically, it's like, like if Weird Al did video games instead, like
yeah.
It is a parody game. So I looked up what an umpire is, which like I know, you know, like you kind of like know innately what an umpire is, but I didn't like.
Research is never bad.
Right. And what I found out through my research is that there's many different kinds of umpires, according to Wikipedia. There are. This is in order of the Wikipedia umpire record. There is field hockey, cricket, baseball and softball, football, Australia only. And by football, they mean soccer.
Wait, why Australia only?
I don't know, but it says Australian rules football.
Wait, wouldn't they be referees in most other sports? Like, wait.
That's why there's only a few on the list.
Oh, wow.
Okay, Australian rules football. Lawn bowling, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's bowling on a lawn.
Like 10-pin?
Yeah, but on a lawn.
Wow.
Yep. Netball, which is like... it's
volleyball.
No.
Tennis.
It's closer to basketball.
Oh, whoa.
Usually there's 2 umpires in that one. Rowing, sailing, and tennis.
Rowing? Rowing?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
In a regatta, an umpire is used in the on-the-water official, so they get to be in a boat.
Wow.
Anyway.
Does it define what the difference between a referee and an umpire is?
Let me see. This has like a lot of the etymology of the word, which like I don't really care that much. It doesn't really say.
Okay, well.
But those are just the sports that have a specifically called umpire. Now, okay, so Age of Empires.
Age of Umpires, please.
No, I'm talking about Age of Empires.
Oh, dang it. I thought I knew what was happening here.
You play as different like armies of real time, mostly. Like actual armies, like France.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is a real-time strategy game, but like, yes,
like
it is
historical
civilizations.
Okay, so in this one, you play as sports.
Okay. Oh, I like this.
Yeah, so like a game could consist of tennis versus field hockey. Okay.
Yeah.
The umpires are the leaders of the quote-unquote army, and what you're building are courts and stadiums that are relevant to that game.
Okay.
Which is fun because we have things like rowing in there, so you could make like Waterworld. They have the
strongest
team.
navy.
Yes, and I just think it'd be really fun, and like so like the different like types of stadiums, and like you have to like install the AstroTurf, so it would look very modern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's really it. Like I did a lot of describing for just a very simple idea of like it's Age of Empires. But the armies are teams of sports, and the buildings and like the way it evolves is like, you start with like a little like, I don't know, what's a good example? Okay, for baseball, like you'd maybe just be playing in like a park with like you have a park with like a little hapdash thing, and then as you like grow your quote unquote empire, it goes to like a huge like Fenway Park-esque stadium.
Wow. So okay. In Age of Empires, collecting resources like gold mines, like there will be gold mines on the map, and then you build a mining camp, and then you have villagers. They'll walk over and they'll use their pickaxes. They'll collect a bunch of gold, bring it back to the mining camp. I'm now envisioning being able to buy like kitchens and like bars, like concession stands and stuff. And then the villagers are like the people who go around like selling the peanuts, and the gold mines on the map are like the crowds.
Yes.
And so like they go into the crowds and they give them peanuts or whatever, and then bring the money back, and that's your resource.
It's almost a little tycoon-y in that sense. But it is essentially RTS.
Yes, I like that it's got like the tycoon visual appearance, but like the actual gameplay is an RTS style. And so, instead of having like people attend your stadiums or something, no, they're a resource on the map that you collect.
Resource.
Just like
collecting,
Age of Empires,
crowds, which is hilarious and great. And
you're collecting money from the crowds.
Well, but like they're part of it. Yeah. So anyway, that's Age of Umpires.
I like it. 20,000 wish lists.
Wow.
That's actually a small number.
Oh.
I actually don't know what the... I see a lot of like posts on game developer areas, in game developer spaces, where people are like, I've got 2,000 wish lists. I've got 10,000 wish lists, and so I actually don't know what the baseline of what you're looking for is, because as a non-game releaser, it doesn't matter that much to me. But it is funny to see like these wide range of numbers where people have varying levels of confidence, where it's like, okay, I've got 2,000 wish lists. Why is my game not doing good? And okay, I had 10,000 wish lists. How do I get more? I feel like my game's not ready to release with so small amount. And it's like, okay, you two have wildly different expectations here.
According to gamesindustry.biz, I'm still looking for a number, but this is an interesting statistic. For the average Steam game, 19% of all wish lists convert to sales within 12 months.
Oh, that's a pretty good statistic.
Yeah.
I mean, that like, I guess it varies per game because it depends on your budget and like how much your game cost, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's average of a lot, right?
If you're like, my game needs to at least make its money back in 1 year, then your wish list goal is
all right, this article is good.
5 times.
Maybe I'll actually put a link in the show notes for once, but it's good, but it's not saying anything about like
an actual number because it varies so much depending on your game.
Yeah, depending on your game, your genre, your price, like you said. Right. So, but it is an interesting thing.
Yeah, right. You need 5 times as many wish lists to make your money back, or 5 times as many wish lists as it would take in sales to recoup your costs in order to recoup your costs in 1 year.
In theory, people are going to buy it who didn't wish list it too. But yes, that would be a good metric.
Yeah, but
Anyway, okay, well, that's... Oh, yeah, so I guess if you take that statistic, that like 19% statistic, you can calculate how many wish lists you want, right?
Right, that's what I was saying. Yeah,
I got you. Okay, all right.
5 times as many as you would need to sell.
Look, it's Sunday morning. It's EP time.
We should have done a night stream, or not, night cast, night pod recording.
Yeah, I wanted to do a morning.
Then we'd be silly goofy instead of silly goofy.
We're different kinds of silly goofy. Anyway, what about you? What's your game idea, and how many Steam wishlists will I give it?
First of all, you'll give it 100,000 Steam wishlists.
Wow, you think you're better than me?
I know.
Oh my goodness.
No, this game is called Bike Week.
Ooh, I like it already.
The one sentence, like the game description: wandering bikers are swarming your state. You want to make money from this.
Okay, so I do just want everyone to know that Isaac wrote that down and read it verbatim from his phone. He was ready.
That's all you need to know about this game. But the actual gameplay. So this is a tower defense game. This is like Bloons TD.
Yeah. Every time you describe tower defense games to me, I say I have never played one.
I've shown you Bloons before. I downloaded it to show you.
I have no memory of this.
Oh my God.
Bloons
TD. It's like right here on my phone right now, right there in the corner. It's in this one, monkeys throw like spears and stuff to like pop balloons.
Oh, I kind of remember that, but that's tower defense?
Yeah. Okay, so here, let me explain how a tower defense works to you. There is a path on the field. That is where enemies are going to be like walking.
So I think I get the concept of a tower defense. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do it for the listeners.
Oh, okay. Sorry, listeners. Go ahead.
It's just, instead of being like, hey, you dumb listeners, it's better to be like, hey, co-host. This is.
No, I know. I just feel like they know. They like video games.
Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
No, go ahead.
So there's a path, and you have some amount of prep time, possibly even infinite prep time. Like you might have a button that you press that like initiates the defense. So you have like a setup time where you spend money or other resources to build towers along this path. They'll have a range, they'll have a damage, they'll have maybe a damage type that'll play into the mechanics. They might have special abilities, etc. You put them along this path, you initiate the level, or the timer runs out and the level initiates, and a bunch of enemies start walking down the path, and they walk through the entire path, and then depending on how many escape, you lose like an HP, and when you hit 0 or a certain number of enemies like make it through your path, you lose.
Yeah.
So that's the basic concept of a tower defense. In this, the towers are roadside stands, restaurants, food trucks, etc., like basically tourist traps that you set along the road.
Okay.
And then during the day, the bikers are going to, in their big bike swarms.
And to say this is motorcycles.
Motorcycles, yes. Motorcycles are going to motorcycle past.
Because Bike Week is a thing.
Yes.
Is Bike Week a thing everywhere?
I actually don't know, but it's a thing in New Hampshire.
Yeah, so we should tell people what that is and why it's based on that.
Bike Week is when wandering bikers swarm our state, and the state wants to make money from this.
Okay, yeah.
So
it's like a bike festival. I know, but I'm letting them know. You just said to explain things. I'm explaining things.
I said to explain gaming things. This is they can look up Bike Week.
Oh man,
those dirty mongrels. They should live in New Hampshire if they want to know about Bike Week.
Okay.
Anyways, so instead of the normal trappings of like you're actually setting up like towers that like shoot arrows or like guns or something at the bikers, the HP of bikers represent like how willing to stop they are. And so the more stands that they go by, the more willing they are to stop until like their will breaks and they stop and they give you money. Which
it doesn't sound like a tower defense
mechanically,
game.
Mechanically, it is exactly the same as a normal tower defense. Like the tower attacks as people walk by, but in this, instead of like attacking them, because we're not killing the bikers, we're trying to get them to stop at our place. I guess like a dead biker is a biker who has stopped at one of your stores and given you money.
I will say yes, sure, mechanically yes, but I would never sell it that way because it's doing the opposite of what. So in tower defense, you want to kill them and stop them from coming, and in this one, you're actively trying to get them to come in.
Yeah.
So don't call it that.
No. But mechanically,
yes, mechanically it is. So we can talk about it as that.
So if I don't present it as a tower defense, right? That we're going to talk about marketing more. If I don't present it as a tower defense, right? This looks and sounds like a tycoon game. And if a tycoon gamer,
it is a tycoon.
No,
game.
It's not. It's a tower defense game because mechanically that's what's going on.
Okay, but then how is it different than Mall Tycoon, where you build stores to attract people to go into the stores and get money from them?
Because you don't have a set path that you're building the stores around.
I mean, kind of, right? Because like the mall, they walk through the mall in a certain way, or like Zoo Tycoon has literal paths that you build to walk by, like areas. It doesn't seem that different. I froze him, folks. I don't know. I can't tell if he's just completely.
Okay, I'm gonna have to have you play Bloons TD, and you can play it for 30 seconds and tell me whether you think it's a tycoon game or not.
Okay.
Because when bikers get within range of towers, they'll lose HP, and once it's 0, they'll stop at whatever stand, and you'll earn money from their standing there, and then, yeah, the interesting mechanical twist on this is that that makes it more than just balloons, for example. Mm-hmm. Towers, they have a biker capacity. So, like, you can't just have one super powerful tower at the beginning of the route that just, like, you put all your upgrades into and it kills everything right at the beginning, which is how a lot of these tower defense games that I've played often go down to. You're just like, all right, I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to have all my best towers right at the beginning, and then the end half of the route doesn't matter at all. So, like, your most uber powerful tower might only be able to defeat 10 enemies. So then you have to have the rest of the route defeat the next 10 enemies, and so on and so forth. So this gives you even upgrades through... It encourages you to put even upgrades through your entire course, mm-hmm. your entire route, instead of just focusing it all into one. I mentioned the different damage types and stuff earlier. So, like, in a normal tower defense, it would be like fire, ice damage, and like you'd have like enemies that are resistant or weak versus certain types. And the same thing applies. Certain bikers might be like more interested in hot dog stands. And so hot dog stands will do more damage to those guys. Or, like, they might only care about bike upgrades. So, like, only auto shops or bike shops.
For damage, would that be, like, amount of money they spend? Because that'd be funny.
No. The HP is their, like, willingness to not, like, their resistance to stopping, their inertia,
I think it would be funny if it was, like, doing damage meant, like, doing damage to their bank accounts. It's funny.
No. So, normally in a tower defense, when an enemy dies, you get money from them, and so this is when...
Why?
I don't know, that's just the mechanic.
Okay.
You kill enemy, you get money. It's just like pigs dropping gold in RPGs, you know? Like,
I don't know, but okay. That's never happened to me before. I think this is a cool mechanic, and I think it's a cool game.
And yeah, and so the fluff for the upgrade times, because I said there was a period where you like build stuff and then you like initiate the next level. That's nighttime. So overnight you take all of your money, because the game a game is 7 days. It's the entirety of bike week. So the first day is the night before bike week. You build your initial stuff using the money you make from day one. During the night, you do upgrades, you build new stuff, you start day 2, etc., and each day gets progressively harder and harder as more and more bikes come to the state until you defeat the final wave on day 7. You get your high score, you post it online, you start a new run.
Yeah, I like this game a lot, and I want you to add flavor. I think the flavor is good in this one.
Thank you.
So our next thing we're going to do is a discussion. We already did kind of a cool mini discussion on marketing, but we're not going to talk about marketing. We're going to talk about upgrades, ironically.
Yeah, well, not just upgrades, but abilities in general.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I was thinking about, so it's a basic aspect of like human psychology, not for literally everyone, but I think it's a large enough proportion of people across pretty much all things that we can apply it in a broad sense to gaming. One thing that I notice a lot is if there is some kind of bonus to a certain action or ability, players will tend to maximize using that. So an example that I'll use is, let's say you get a pair of magic daggers in like an action RPG that you're playing that gives you plus 10% damage to backstabbing. Mm-hmm. That is going to create like a psychological urge to backstab so that you get this 10% bonus to backstabbing. Damage, and 10% damage, that's a big buff to damage. But let's say in this game, backstabbing requires you to stealth behind an enemy target, and it requires you to like stun them consistently in order to like keep behind them in order to actually consistently get backstabbing damage. So let's say in like a minute-long fight, right? You are able to like directly attack and backstab for 30 seconds of that, right? So you get effectively 30 seconds of plus 10% damage. If you just ran at the opponent and attacked them for 60 seconds straight without using your backstabbing ability at all, you get 60 seconds of damage, which is most likely going to be more than 30 seconds of plus 10% damage. This is a very contrived example, but I'm hoping that people can kind of piece together like how this more broadly applies.
I mean, I get it, yeah.
Like, and I talked about Witcher 3 and how I don't like the loot system in it, and I don't think it adds a whole lot. And I think it's partially because like when you have like wide like loot systems where they depend on like tiny upgrades to like keep you getting that like dopamine hit of, oh, I've got the +1 attack, and this one like does +1 fire damage against cold resistant enemies or something. Like they fill out a lot of these items with like kind of useless abilities. And players, where I'm going with this is players aren't exactly the best at mentally optimizing, even though most players will try to optimize.
Yeah, but they're not going to be doing like with the calculation you just like they'll try to optimize by using the thing that gives them the most plus up.
Right. They'll see the plus ups and they'll think that's the best, so I'm going to do that. And then if at any point they realize the mistake, that is a feels bad moment, and I think that's something that you want to design against. You want to prevent that moment of like the player realizing, hold on a second,
this thing that's so cool that maybe cost a lot or something, or I worked hard to get, doesn't actually do more it might do more damage, but it isn't better than these other things.
Yeah, it could be worse than the basic option in the example that I gave, or like if presented with plus 10% damage when backstabbing, or plus 2% damage when front stabbing. You know, the plus 2% damage one looks smaller, but is actually over that 60-second period, that's more. And there's not really a way for even like, I guess I can call it a casual player to ever figure that out unless they are like a brilliant mathematician or like paying super close attention. At that point, I wouldn't really call them casual.
No. Well, because even if you are, like, say, a brilliant mathematician or something, you still have to put the effort in to do it, right? So if you're playing casually, even as a very smart person, like even as a math person, you might not notice. You might just be having fun.
Yeah.
You don't have to turn math brain on all the time.
And if I can give a slightly less contrived example, but a real world example, albeit not from video games, from tabletop games.
Okay. A real world example.
Yes. Well,
no, I know. I know what you mean.
An actual thing that occurs. There is a tabletop war game called Conquest Last Argument of Kings that I play.
And if you're interested in playing, he's got a discount code.
I do have a discount code, an affiliate link. You can go to my YouTube channel that is unrelated to this podcast.
I just have to plug
Table
it.
It Gaming.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
I think it's /Table It Gaming on YouTube. Anyways, whatever. You can take a character in one of the armies. He's called a Thunder Chieftain. He rides he's an orc riding a Triceratops. He has a rule that other orcs riding Triceratopses in like his army, up to 2 of them get a benefit, get a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they take the Thunder Chieftain and they take the 2 units of Thunder Riders to get the buffs, the maximized buff.
Yep.
From the Thunder Chieftain. Like, they think that that's good value, cost value analysis. Like, cool. It turns out at high level, almost nobody is taking 2 units of Thunder Riders because they're too expensive to take 2 units of Thunder Riders. It's better to invest a lot into the 1 unit, even though you get a special rule that says, hey, the second unit will be better. It's actually not worth it to take that second unit. And that's a very abstract, like, highly skilled thought process. And then when newer people or less experienced or less skilled people like realize, hey, that second unit's actually bad to take, even though I get a buff to that second unit, that's a feels bad moment. And that is what this discussion is like trying to get towards, is like, you can design around feels bad moments either by only including abilities where like maximizing it is worth it for the good players, so that there is the good players, so that there's no feels bad moments, or just like not including like weird niche abilities that like will never.
Here's what I'll say. I think there's a third option, which is using these niche abilities in very specific quests or situations.
Oh.
So like, for example, there's like the thunder armor, I think it is, in Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh yeah. That like blocks electricity.
Yeah, and like you can use it whenever you want, but you really just need it for one specific quest.
Yeah.
And it's actually not super useful outside of that quest, but like it's cool for that moment. And you know that it's for that moment because you like find it like right before the quest, you know, and there's a lot, I think, of examples. That's the one that came to mind first, but of games where like you find, you know, like the shadow power right before you need to be stealth. And so like you can use that, but it's not necessarily like encouraging you to use it forever now, right? Like it's like this was for a very specific situation. Maybe you'll find yourself in that situation again during the game. You can use it during the game in other ways, but like it's not necessarily trying to tell you like do this all the time now. And I think that's an okay way to use it as long as it's very clear.
And that's also like the kind of ability where it's not encouraging you to like actively use it because like, is there really a way to seek out the situations where it would be useful? Like in the backstab example, like you can seek out the backstab like at all times, but like seeking out thunderstorms.
Yeah, like you could be in one by accident and be like, oh, I have this armor, but again, even then it's not great armor.
And now,
guys.
here's a very interesting thing too. You could, if you had this, let's use this Tears of the Kingdom example. If you wanted to have a cool feature for people who wanted to do stuff, if you give the ability to like summon a thunderstorm,
that would be cool.
Then that gives the players a combo, and that's then actually runs into a situation. Is summoning a thunderstorm and using that armor going to be better than...
Probably not. Probably takes more time. Well, and okay,
because it takes more time, and
this is kind of related. You're going to be like, what? But Matchington Manor, which is a match 3 game, but I think about this a lot, where sometimes I get into this trick in my head because there's a lot of boosters and power-ups, right? And if you combine power-ups, it's the best boost.
Oh, yeah. Like, I see where you're going with this.
So sometimes I'm trying to match specifically to get power-ups to line up so I can use them together. But because there's a limited number of moves, that's actually not optimized. Like, I should be not doing that, right? Like I need to be thinking of the big picture, but I get really into I want this cool power up.
Yeah, like if it takes you 5 moves to get a power up that like has the equivalent power of like 3 moves,
right?
You're behind 2 moves.
Exactly, and that happens to me, and I have to really think through it.
And now I'm just going to say a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, and a lot of gamers are probably listening to us and being like, what's going on? Players will optimize the fun out of anything.
Yeah.
And that's effectively what I'm doing. And by describing it, I'm describing it in like game design terms, right? Like number of moves and cost and value and stuff. Like when you're playing these games, you don't really think about it this way unless you're specifically like trying to optimize. Yeah,
it's more.
But a lot of people will like intuitively pick up, like, hey, this bomb in Matchington is like matching 3 different things at the same time.
It's kind of like an emotional response because like seeing the bomb go off is way more exciting than like just matching stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the same, like using like a cool suit of armor could look cooler and feel cooler than using a regular one, even if it's not OP.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, because I have to be the contrarian sometimes.
Okay.
I've never really fallen for this in games like Tears of the Kingdom or like other, you know, like where you're talking about more weapon upgrades and like object upgrades.
Yeah.
Because I don't read.
You don't even know what bonuses your equipment has.
Honestly, though. Like, honestly, I don't know. I'm just...
Wow.
I mean, I kind of... Sometimes I'm forced to know. Like, in Tears of the Kingdom, they make weapons, like, really specific, I feel. Like, more so than in Breath of the Wild. Like, you can't break rocks with a sword. You have to use a bludgeoning thing. So I had to kind of do that, but like, no, I'm literally just I'm going at an enemy with what's in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And until that breaks, and then I'm picking something else out of my hand. Like, I am not caring about it. I don't read. I don't know what the pluses are. I don't know anything.
But, okay, do you ever think about things like this? Like, because it makes it pretty clear how much damage a weapon does.
Well, yeah, I'll do that.
Do you ever, like, pick up a weapon that, like, let's say it does 100 damage, and then you've got another weapon that has 20 damage, right? And then you swing the 100 damage weapon and you realize that it's very slow swing. Do you like throw that out, or do you like use that anyways and just like deal with it?
I mean, it depends on the battle. I'd probably just keep it though.
Okay. Because that's another example of where I'm talking about like if my attack does 100 damage and I can attack one time per period.
In that sense, I would switch, but I'm not thinking that hard about it. Like,
right.
I'd be like, oh, this is not suited for what I'm doing right now. And then I just like go through till I find something that works for me. Like, I'm not like, let me optimize my, like I'm just like,
you're not
this is
thinking,
in my inventory.
You're not thinking in the time it takes me to land one attack to do 100 damage, I can land 6 attacks at 20 damage
I'm just
each.
like, this slow. Let's fix it.
And then there's also, it could do 300 damage, right? And like in theory do in the same amount of time 180 extra damage, right? But if it's so slow that the enemy attacks, hits you, and interrupts your attack,
that doesn't matter
every single time. Yeah, that 300 damage doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you're encouraged as like a player. I see big number. I use big weapon.
Well, and I do. I mean, I fall for that all the time. But and also like I'm aware of too in that game specifically durability. But I don't think that's a problem. Honestly, I like when weapons break in that game because then I have more inventory.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad about a really high damage, low durability weapon. Like, that's worth it to me. But so I do think somewhat. But I'm not, and like I don't play the mechanics. Like, I never ever block. I've never blocked on purpose. Or parried. What is that in any game? In any game, I literally I just run in, stab, or if I have a ranged weapon, that's all I'm doing. And that's it.
Wow.
Except for when I got the sneaky suit.
I
did.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
And then you get into the situation where it takes you, 45 seconds to sneak around an enemy versus 10 seconds to actually kill it.
Right, but then I don't get hurt. I wish I had recorded. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I mean, it was a shorter discussion, so I think I can have it, right?
Sure.
That I think this was in Breath of the Wild, and I had upped my sneak so much. Like, I had the completely plussed like whole sneak outfit, and I took like a sneak potion, like a stealth potion, and I literally just like walked into a camp and like took stuff and left.
Oh, like in front of them?
Almost. Like I wasn't like in front, but they were like in a circle, and I just like walked up and I like sneak attacked them all They just fell off the, whatever, and I just took what I needed and left. Like, no one saw me. I was essentially
Even
invisible.
when you attacked the person next to them? Amazing.
And I was like, that was incredible.
Yeah.
So that was worth it to me.
Okay, that does sound worth it. I guess then it's like, okay, so you use potions and stuff. Did the loot that you get equal the cost of the potions?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, but the joy I felt, absolutely.
That's the final thing I think that we're going to say on it is also there can be situations where the joy outweighs any of the mechanics, and there will be a certain number of players who will do that anyways.
Yeah, which is fine.
As a designer, recognize whether this situation you think is joyful enough. The optimizers will just not do it. The joyful people. I like that there's two types of people. The optimized
and the joyful people. No, I think, and also like
people who can still feel joy, and then people who think too hard like me.
I feel like that's in like the testing phase too. Like make sure you have people who play that way.
Yeah, is it actually fun to do this backstab thing? If yes, continue with it. If it's not fun, either buff make the stealth cheaper using this exact mechanic for whatever reason. Example, either make the stealth potion like cheaper so it's always going to be like worth at least as much as you gain from like using it in this kind of situation, or remove it, which seems like the worst possible option, but like there are certain situations where it's just like something just doesn't make sense anymore. Like once you've like figured out like this hammer does 1,000 damage, but I will literally never hit anything in the entire game with it. Does this hammer need to exist in this game?
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
That's our discussion. Yeah. Let's go to the rapid fire round.
It's time for the rapid fire round. That's where we generate 3 random words. We come up with a game idea based on those 3 words, and we name that game all in 5 minutes. Can you believe it?
Or less.
Usually less, because that's better. And are you ready?
Yes. I'm starting in 3, 2, 1.
Weirdly connected words. Soprano, instrument, privilege. It's funny because the Sopranos are known as like the posh ones. They're like the uppity group in the singing group. They're the popular kids.
We could go that way and, I don't know, make it like a kind of social game maybe. But my thought with privilege is just like contests, like a series of choir contests, and then you gain the privilege of going to a like higher tier.
Okay, I don't know
contests.
If that feels like privilege to me, but okay.
We get loosey-goosey with it sometimes. Okay. Basically, what this would turn into... In my head, choirs involve instruments. I don't know if that's true.
No. I mean, like, usually there's, like, a piano accompaniment, but it's not really part of the choir.
Yeah, like, maybe... Okay, actually, what if it's just a band? I mean, what if we just make rock band?
Okay. No.
Because that is exactly what Rock Band's like story mode is.
Okay, but like soprano, that's a specific thing. I don't know. Can we like get somewhere with that?
I don't know enough. I personally can't get anywhere with that.
All right, what if I tell you about stuff and then you help with a game? Because I know about soprano, but I don't know about game.
Okay.
So, and you could also say the voice is an instrument if we want to go there.
I think that, yes.
So soprano... in like a very like standard choir is the higher part.
Okay.
They also usually sing the melody, so like not the harmony.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
That's not a lot to work with.
It's not a lot to work with? I mean...
Well, yeah, because like this is just gearing me towards like, yes, rock bandy kind of game. Or like that trombone game that was a meme a couple... But I just want it to be serious version of it.
Like, how do we make it specific about sopranos? I feel like we can't just say it's choir game.
I guess maybe we can. If you I don't know. Specifically like play the soprano part, and then the gameplay is very basic. It's just like a rhythm based game, and you hold the keys.
What if it's like an actually singing based game?
I don't know if it's possible.
Rock Band does that.
No, but it's mostly measuring, like, are you singing a note? Like
the pitch. It's measuring your pitch.
It is measuring your pitch?
There's actually a game on TikTok right now where you sing the scales and it measures your pitch.
Oh, really?
So that's possible.
I remember my friends doing something funny with Rock Band. I thought that they were just, like, flatly singing the lyrics and it was counting. Or maybe they weren't singing the lyrics, they were just singing notes.
Right, which will work.
Because
it's measuring pitch. And you also don't have to be perfect. So like you can just kind of like scale in Rock Band, you can kind of like go like, oh, so like you don't have to do the song as long as you're singing the pitch at some point. So
this feels, if we go with that, it feels like less of a game and more of a soprano specific training
here's how
tool.
It's a game. No, because you can play as any, this works with the privilege too. You can play as any level of voice, but because the soprano is the highest, it's going to be the hardest for most people.
Okay.
But if you play soprano, it's also easier because it's the melody of the song. So it's the part you're familiar with. If you do alto, tenor's usually also the melody. But if you do like alto or bass, like you're doing a harmony. And so that's harder because you probably don't know the harmony of like a popular song.
Okay.
But it's easier to sing. So the privilege, so soprano, if you play a soprano, it's easier to sing it, but also harder to sing it. But also maybe you get like a higher reward trophy or something.
Okay. But ultimately, this does sound like it is, yes, a training,
well, it's
singing
like Rock Band.
training
You would go
thing.
through competitions in your choir, yeah.
Okay. And what do we call it? Choir band. Rock choir.
I must learn to sing much higher. That's part of a vocal warm-up. If I want to join the choir, I must learn to sing much higher. Listen to me sing this song. What about listen to me sing this song? I like that.
Okay, all right. I'll give that to you. And I stopped the clock already, but we have 45 seconds left. Okay. I'm gonna add this feature. You can record your like run and upload it to like the online leaderboards, and people can see other people
That's
like
fun, yeah.
doing that.
Okay.
So it's like listen to me, watch me sing or whatever.
Listen to me sing this. Sorry, my voice is obviously not warmed up, or I could.
Yeah, we didn't warm up our voice before this podcast. We should. We
gotta
take care of our voices.
We do.
Okay.
We should do the.
I'm gonna start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go.
Spend, dozen, mislead.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay, so there's a dozen. Things that come in a dozen. Eggs, donuts.
And mislead. Okay.
Is it about JD Vance ordering donuts?
No.
Okay.
It's gaslighting people into buying baker's dozens. No, I don't know.
Oh, I thought you had something. Okay.
No, I don't. I want mislead to directly correlate to gaslighting.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you mechanically how you make gaslighting a mechanic, except for like doing something like making a persuasion roll in D&D where it's kind of like not really a mechanic. Like, okay, yes, you press the button to gaslight them, and then it rolls. It randomly decides. There's some way, unless you do like a full mini game to represent gaslighting, and then the game is really like one of those like shop management kind of games, but you are specifically trying to force customers to buy things that aren't quite what they want.
Yeah. Or what if it's like you just have to sell a dozen things in packages of 12, and so you have to like go out into the world and like harvest 12 things of things, and the mislead is in like maybe like they're all in egg cartons.
Wait, I came up with an idea. Okay. Halloween time is coming up.
Yes.
It's a classic trope, at least I think it is. Near Halloween time, you're walking through town, there's a store you've never seen before, you go inside. Oh, cursed item.
Yeah.
You are the shopkeeper of this cursed item store. You have to sell a dozen items to break the curse on yourself.
Yes.
And
this is great.
So you have to mislead people into buying these obviously cursed items.
What is it like? Kind of like a discussion tree game where you have to like select the right dialogue options to convince them to buy it, and you see like a bar of their like conviction as you go.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking, and yeah. So the numbers will be like hidden from the player, obviously, but like. The way that I see this being presented, customer asks like a specific question about obviously cursed item, and then you have like 4 dialogue options, and each one is like either plus or negative a certain amount. And like this could even play into the dozen too. We could have dozen come up as a recurring thing. So like they'll ask a total of 12 questions.
Ooh, okay.
And if you don't hit a certain like score,
by the end of it, they leave.
They leave and don't buy it.
And I think you have to have like maybe like by midnight you have to, because 12.
Oh, yes. So we're getting 12 in here a lot. So yeah, they'll ask up to 12 questions, and if you hit a certain low number, they'll just walk away early. If you hit a certain high number, like you'll convince them to buy it. So your goal is to, before they ask a total of 12 questions,
sell the item. And then if you sell 12 before midnight, then the curse is lifted.
Then the curse is lifted, and you do not have to sell cursed items anymore.
I want to play this game. Yes. This is going to be one of the ones I think about often.
Okay, well, write this one down, and maybe we will make that happen.
Okay. It's called Deathly Dozen.
Deathly Dozen? Deadly Dozen. Okay.
More expensive by the dozen.
Wow.
No.
Is cursed by the dozen. That doesn't no. Dozen curse.
Dozen devils.
Devil's dozen.
Devil's dozen. Like
Devil's
Baker's dozen. Devil's dozen. That's it.
57 seconds left.
I love this game. I cannot express to you how much I wish I could play this game. Okay.
I mean, so it's the rare example of like a talkie game where we actually came up. Sorry, I just bashed her knee with my phone. I gave her a reflex test. It's a talkie game, but we actually came up with like real mechanics behind the talkie.
Yeah.
Which I feel
we never really do that.
We skim over a whole lot, but yeah, having actual mechanics. Wow, now the only hard part about developing this, I know we've already done the 5 minutes, but since this is such an interesting idea, the difficult part about implementing this is either having enough potential customers and cursed items combinations, or having enough like questions per one of these interactions, is to make it so like it's not literally scripted. Like if you know the answers, you just no matter what, you'd be able to like look up the questions on a wiki. If this game existed, like you could perfectly answer every question every single time. But like a casual play, having enough content where it's not just like, okay, well, the first item is always A, C, D, D. Cool. I've played it once. I now know the answers.
Right. You would want to have a wide kind of replayability, because also like you want to, like if you lose, you want someone to be motivated to continue to play again, right? Like if you don't make it by midnight.
Yeah, and then they just, okay, I'm going to start again, and oh look, the first 9 customers are exactly the same.
It just means you do it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's content filling. Yeah, it's a content-based game.
That sounds like fun for me.
Yeah, it's the kind of game that you could release and then like every couple months just be like, all right,
new cursed objects and new cursed customers coming your way. Yeah, meet Karen.
Here's a 99-cent DLC that adds another dozen customers.
Oh my goodness! No, it should be. Well, I was gonna say it should be like $1.20 or something. Like 12.
There we go.
Anyway, okay. Well, last one.
You
ready?
I'm starting it in 3, 2, 1. Started.
Key, chance, nature. I mean, key is like a very common video game thing. I'm not worried about that one. Chance and nature, though. Very chance-based nature game.
I wonder if there's a way to make like an ethical gacha game that helps nature somehow. So do you know a gacha game?
Like Gashapon?
Yeah. So like there's a genre of video games which are like Gashapon in digital format. So like
like with real money?
Yeah, you like pay money to get keys, and then you use those keys to unlock like capsules in game, and then rewards. It gives you like characters, and then you can use those in like some gameplay element.
Yeah. Here's how we make it ethical is like every time you buy a key, it plants a tree. Keys for trees.
Yeah, keys for trees. Yeah, and so instead of being like profit driven, like we're trying to manipulate people to spend $1,500 on keys to unlock one rare thing, we are like, no, this is a charity thing, and
they'd probably be cheap. Like, I don't think we'd be like price gouging keys.
Oh, no. I mean, it would be the cost of planting a tree.
Is there like a gameplay though? Like, do you do anything with what you win, or like?
So
are there ways? There should be ways to get keys without paying money too.
Right.
Yeah.
If we just use the gacha game framing. Mm-hmm. Then that fills in a lot of the work. The actual like gameplay element, like what you do with these like capsules that you unlock, I'm thinking like a Zoo Tycoon kind of game.
Okay. Yes.
Where like, okay, you've unlocked an American beaver from your nature capsule, right? So then you can place that in your zoo.
And it can have fun facts about all the animals.
Exactly.
Ooh, I love it. And then that way, if you get duplicates, it's just fun because you just put them together and they hang out.
Yeah, and maybe getting duplicates is how you like unlock free keys, right? Like maybe if you get 2 American beavers, for an example, you put them in the same zoo exhibit, and then maybe like unlocking water features is also like something that can come from these gacha capsules. Mm-hmm. You put the right environment in, you put like 2 animals in the correct environment together, and over time they'll generate energy or something that will give you a free key to represent. I know you don't like it, but it's like breeding sort of, I know. But it's not like actually breeding. It's just like you've done the good animal condition.
It's like the animal like finds you a key.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's good. I think we did it. Like Keys for Trees.
And that's the name?
I think so.
Keys for Trees. I mean, that explains what it... 2 minutes and 5 seconds left. I like it because it explains what it does in like a meta sense.
Yeah.
Like, no, the gameplay isn't Keys for Trees. No, what you will buy keys in the game, and we will plant trees in real life.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's our game. That's our podcast.
It's done. MakeThatGame.com. It's beautiful. Yeah, I made it myself.
Yeah, go to MakeThatGame.com. It's very beautiful, very very demure.
It does not actually have the other links that we're going to talk about, but it does have a link to the podcast itself.
Yeah, which is good.
I need to add the link.
Like I said, it does have link. It has link.
It has one link.
One singular link. All right, so you can also go to Make That Game Pod on Instagram and TikTok. I almost said Twitter, and I was like, Twitter doesn't even exist anymore.
We're doing good.
We are. You can go to youtube.com/@MakeThatGame to see replays of our live streams. We did one yesterday. It was pretty fun. Hopefully we'll get it up by this day, which is Tuesday when you're listening, hopefully, unless you're listening way later, which is fine too. Hello, welcome from the past. And then you can also email us, makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. Just say hi, let us know you're listening. You can give us a game idea you want us to read on the pod, games that you think we should play and review, or just
discussion topics.
Discussion topics would be actually fantastic because we have discussed a lot on this podcast and we need more topics. And then you can find us at twitch.tv/makethatgame. You should give us a follow and make sure you can get notified when we go live, because we go live once a month. I think we're actually going to do a pretty early October one because our late October plans are pretty stacked. So only in a couple of weeks we'll be back on the stream, most likely. I forget the exact date, but I did write it down. And then if you heard a game today that you think needs to exist, unless it's Devil's Dozen, because that's TM, then you need to get out there and make that game.